morning. Thank you for staying tuned to Citizen TV on this 10th day of May 2022. And it's time now we get to focus on some of the stories making headlines on different platforms, but also looking ahead on the path to 2022 general election. To introduce the panelists here in studio, we have Senator Samson Cherargei from Nandi County. Good morning. And it's good to see you this morning. We also on the papers will be telling us about that. We also have Robert Mboi from Kathiani constituency, Machakos County. Good morning.
Morning, Sam.
It's been such a long time. We haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. But Senator, let me begin with you. I'm looking at the dailies, and you look at the Daily Nation, the undesirables. They face court case after court case. After court case, have integrity questions hanging over their heads. Some are even battling murder charges in court, while others have been impeached for impropriety and misuse of public funds. And they're talking about the application or misapplication of Chapter 6 of the Constitution. They detail different faces there, including John Waluke, who had been convicted but appealed against that conviction and sentencing. You have Aisha Juma from Malindi, Mithika Linturi, Senator of Meru, Samson Cherargei from Nandi, Babu Owino, Embakasi East, John Amburu, Larry MP, Wavinya Ndeti, Machakos, Governor Hopeful, Rigathi Gachagua, MP Mathira, Aduma Awor, Nyakach, Oscar Sudi Kapseret, who is facing some charges, James Gakuya, who being investigated currently, Ayub Savula from Lugari, and Mike Sonko, former governor of Nairobi, who was impeached, and Alfred Keter, Nandi Hills. In the context of this is that there has been the desire to implement Chapter 6 of the Constitution on integrity of leaders, but of course there's that also provision that you must have exhausted all avenues of appeal. I don't know what you think about that, and especially a candidate like Mike Sonko, who has previously been impeached. Of course, has appealed that decision, but up until Court of Appeal, he was not successful. I'm not certain whether he has appealed against that decision at the Supreme Court. What's your comment about that? And also, your mentioning on the papers this morning.
Good morning, Trevor, and it is good to be back. Oh, sorry. Good morning, Sam. I think I'm used to State of the Nation on Thursday, but it's also your colleague. And good to see you after almost 3 years.
Really? How have you been counting?
Yeah, when we had traveled for Boeing issues at Seattle. Firstly, it's good to be back. I think I've been away for some time because of nominations. Allow me to take this opportunity to thank the great people of County of Nandi for overwhelmingly nominating me to participate as the nominee for United Democratic Alliance for senatorial elections in 9th August 2022, and for believing and having faith in me that I should continue to serve them as their senator in the Senate Republic of Kenya. And of course, we'll endeavor to serve all Kenyans, regardless of their status, religion, political affiliation, and ensure that we continue to protect devolution as we go to 3rd generation of devolution, so that our people can benefit all the way in 47 counties, because Senate exists to protect the interests of counties. Secondly, I've seen the headlines of Nation. I don't know what informed them, but in my own opinion, since these are matters active in court and sub judice arrives at, I think you have answered the question, because the law is very clear. It's crystal clear. I know it's a common phrase, but if as a legal practitioner, I'll tell you, if all processes have been exhausted, including appeals, and I think the Abdi Kuli yesterday, I don't know whether you are on set, did say that if they have exhausted all avenues of appeal up to the Supreme Court, because that's the highest, after decision has been made by Supreme Court on any matter, or you have failed to ensure you exhaust appeals, then the IEBC or the Chapter 6 shall kickstart. But discussing and saying particular leaders should not appear on ballot paper simply because they have active court cases is violating the principle of innocent until proven guilt. Unless you want to tell us you are guilty until proven innocent. So if that is the principle that we are working with, then we should allow all the leaders and any other Kenyans, because it's not...
Should the same apply for someone like John Waluke, Member of Parliament, who has been convicted, actually sentenced? He's only out because he appealed.
Yes, I'm aware. But what we are just simpling is that he is yet to exhaust the appeals. If he had exhausted those appeals up to Supreme Court, then IEBC would not have any objection but to allow, just like Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko. In Senate, he was impeached, I think, was it last year or the other year? And therefore, if Governor Sonko has exhausted all the appeals. I'm not aware because I'm not his legal counsel.
Okay.
I wish I was. If there is any appeal that he has made to ensure that he exhausts those appeals, then he should not... The IEBC is very clear. In fact, one of the commissioners was here. He should not be allowed to run in Mombasa, but I am aware that he is upsetting the political formation in Mombasa by all means and standards.
Okay.
And I think Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, His Excellency, has been using him to rattle his way to issues of running mate and also upset the purported zoning by the Orange Democratic Movement. So let's allow the court process to complete. Okay. If individuals are convicted, then the law is very clear what can happen. But as for now, those are just... those do not help in any way, because most Kenyans, by the way, finally, it's not only politicians who are facing active court cases.
Right.
Even some state officers, even some office holders. And it applies in all equal measure.
I hear you, even though for state officers who are not politicians, sometimes they are asked to step aside.
But they are eating a half salary. It doesn't mean they have been fired.
Yes, so they are on suspension.
Yes.
But anyway, Honorable Mbowe, I want us to make progress. But before you do, Mike Sonko comes from your party. What sort of legal dilemma did you find yourselves in clearing him, knowing what he has gone through in Nairobi and now looking for the same seat in Mombasa?
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Sam, I think Cherargei is confusing you, because when you started with this interview, it was very clear we are talking about a general group of people, and now you've specified it to one of the people that is vying under my party. So I think I wouldn't want to discuss.
But it is Sam who asked.
I'm just saying you directed that conversation towards my party candidate for Mombasa County gubernatorial position. But I want to agree with him that clearly, unless the courts have convicted somebody and thrown them out, and then again IEBC makes a decision, a final decision, I think everyone has to be given an opportunity to vie. I think Mike Mbuvi Sonko has been governor in Nairobi and has rights under the law and under the Constitution to vie for any seat. And if the law finds him incapable or unable to vie, then they'll give us that verdict. Otherwise, as a party, I think we have every right to run anyone for any position, because every party is actually formed with the purpose, only one purpose, to win political power. And if you have the candidate who can win the seat for you, then that's a candidate you front. And that's why you saw that during the recent nomination processes, there was a lot of times when parties would even sit down and do discussions with the different candidates to pick one that can win. Sometimes, Sam, and I'll say this honestly, you don't always just pick the best person. Sometimes you pick the person that can win the seat for you. And that's a reality. Because there are people who actually have been fronted by political parties who even don't even have the academic qualifications, like some people in somewhere in Uasin Gishu who haven't even finished primary school. But because they have the ability to bring together these votes, the party gives them the ticket. So this is normal. Every party wants to win, and every party has to run the right people who can win seats for them.
Oh, okay, all right. And I want to introduce Herman Manyora here, who is a lecturer at the University of Nairobi and also a political commentator. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Sam.
Great. And what is your word about this? Because, yes, the law says that until you've exhausted the last avenue of appeal, but then again, there are those issues that are alive to Kenyans. They know, they can tell that this leader, there are certain things that they are doing that are inconsistent with the ethics that we'd want to see in a leader. Do we have a way out?
Sam, shortly before the unfortunate incident of 1998, the American bomb blast, American government had changed the way of applying for visas. Before that, a few months before that, I remember a friend of mine was going through the process. Before that, you used to queue there. Mm-hmm. People used to pay people to sleep for them on the queue. You pay somebody, and a queue. Then tomorrow you can go in and process. Now they then changed, short before that time, and not because of that, but short before that, they moved to this online application, which is more civil and better. Now, when the bomb blast happened, I just said, God, you are good. Supposing those queues were still there, the tragedy that would have befallen this country would have been unimaginable. Now, what am I trying to say? Sam, people are dying to go to Europe. You know that, eh? People are crossing the Mediterranean to go to Europe, and many of them die. Africans, is that true? People can do anything, can go to all lengths to lie about themselves, their bank accounts, and money, just to go to America. Mm-hmm. What point am I trying to make? Those countries we are going to have been developed by people. You get it? Mm-hmm. And they were not singing the song Senator Cherargei and my friend here are singing. No, they are serious people. Those are places where some little scandal around you, you understand you carry enormous responsibility in society. These two gentlemen in this studio are just among about 400 or about less than 500 leaders in whose hands the future of this country belongs. These people, these two gentlemen here, I don't know whether they ever understand that the future of our children and great-grandchildren and grandchildren is actually in their hands. That's why in those countries you are dying to go to some. Any whiff of scandal, you understand the burden of responsibility on you, even if it is not quite true. Like they say, Caesar's wife must be beyond reproach. This issue was articulated very, very well by Justice Mombi Ngugi. She said the threshold for a criminal responsibility is high. But in matters of integrity, suspicion is enough to make you step aside. Because you are talking about society. You are talking about a country. You get it? And therefore, politicians are mistaking this thing. Unfortunately for us, because of Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, we suspended Chapter 6. Everybody was afraid of touching Uhuru. Imagine you are IBC or the courts, because people also went to court. And you are saying in 2013, Uhuru cannot run, and William Ruto. You know, everybody was shaking. They now cited what Cherargei and this guy are saying. That's not, it's not true. Okay. Just look at the Justice Mombi Ngugi ruling. Mm-hmm. I think it was about somebody within the EACC. Mm-hmm. Matters of integrity have nothing to do with the criminal culpability. No. But if somebody accuses you in an ordinary way about an ordinary crime, that doesn't have a big bearing on your public, image.
Right.
And therefore an affront on Article 10 and Chapter 6, then the process will have to be exhausted. But okay. Matters of that touch on integrity, please, if we want this country to remain being a poor, dirty third world country, where people are dying from diarrhea and from hunger, let us talk the way these two gentlemen are talking.
Honorable Mbui, just to get back to you, remember, just before he was removed from office, Senator Mike Sonko had been charged with graft cases, and he had been barred from accessing his office. So if he wins the Mombasa seat and becomes governor of Mombasa, how will he govern with such orders still alive?
Sam, I've said I would like to avoid concentrating on the discussions of one individual, because I don't hold his brief. I am not his lawyer. I don't even understand the issues that he was facing in the city, because it wasn't really, I wasn't interested. At that point, Sam, you must remember he was not in my party, so he's just joined my party recently. But I want to say that Mike Mbuvi Sonko can be given an opportunity to come to the studio and he'll articulate his issues effectively. But I want to agree with Herman here that the issues of integrity, we must ensure that we hold people to account. And I want to be general on this, that there are some times, and you know, Herman, you have to be careful, because there's a lot of times when politicians are accused, not because they've done anything wrong, but because they have opponents who want to take over their political offices. So every time people get accused of something, if we are going to tell them to step aside or now start nailing them here through newspapers and TV stations just because they're political leaders, I think we'll be doing the wrong thing. Let's give all these people an opportunity to be heard through court, and if they are found culpable, let them step aside or be denied an opportunity by IBC from vying.
Okay, all right, I hear you, and of course I will wait for the processing of this. I want us to make progress and listen to something that has happened yesterday, and it's also captured on the Standard. Kalonzo Ruto will win big if Raila snaps. No, not that. It's about, it's actually on The Nation, about Governor Alfred Mutua leaving Azimio la Umoja to move to Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Let's listen to what he had to say about this.
As a party, we have also been excluded from Azimio lineups, campaign programs and funding. As a party, we have also not been shown or even allowed to discuss what our roles will be after the elections. This lack of clarity, plus the sidelining, has sent a very important message to us. Akufukuzae hakuambii toka. Inakuwa ngumu sana sisi kugrow as a party. So our strongholds are taken by other people. Then why are we a political party? Zoning is the main reason. And then lack of inclusivity. Kama mtu anakuacha sahihi kwa meza ile wanapanga vitu, alafu anakuambia don't worry, tukipata serikali utakuwa kwa hiyo meza. We are convinced, and I am convinced, that the best team to transform Kenya is Kenya Kwanza. And the best leader to free us from the yoke of poverty is one Dr. William Ruto. The agreement says you cannot leave Azimio la Umoja within 6 months of the elections. But you see, it's neither here nor there. Every judge will tell you the document was signed within the 6-month period, so it doesn't hold any water. That 6-month period should have been if we had signed it before 6 months.
All right, so later on we'll speak to Governor Alfred Mutua to comment about that. But on the line we have Fred Okango, who is the Political Affairs Secretary within the KANU, the Independence Party KANU. But also we saw a letter presented before the selection panel of possible running mate for Raila Odinga. Good morning, Fred. First of all, how are you receiving the news of the departure of Governor Alfred Mutua and the possible departure of Amason Kingi and his party, PAA?
Thank you very much, Sam. I think Governor Alfred Mutua addressed issues before, and he claims that those issues were not addressed. But if you listen to him keenly, he says that the main issue was zoning. Our captain, Raila Odinga, did say that the issue of zoning will be addressed. And I don't think that is, a good reason to exit Azimio. He must have had his plans to exit before. Then secondly, if you look at how he supposedly signed his agreement with Ruto, he signed it at night. Then went for a press conference the next day, and the photos were revealed that next day. Azimio la Umoja One Kenya's coalition agreement was signed during the day. Even his other partners who are in Kenya Kwanza signed their agreement during the day. Why was he sneaking at night to go and sign an agreement? It means there was some mischief from Governor Mutua. But be that as it may, we in Azimio One Kenya wish him the best. For us in KANU, we strongly believe that Azimio la Umoja One Kenya is still a formidable coalition that can help us win these elections. The teething problem that we are experiencing, we are confident that the coalition council, that is the apex organ of the coalition political party, will address them soonest, so that we can move out to the campaign for Raila Odinga. Because we have said that we want to make Raila Odinga president, particularly the people of Kenya. They are watching, and they would want that to happen immediately. So Governor Alfred Mutua joining Kenya Kwanza is not news. Remember, he has always flirted with them, even though he purports on TV that, he clashes with them, he disparages them. I think that's not true. But as we say again in politics, anything is possible. So for now, we wish him the best.
Fred,
but for us in KANU will remain.
Fred, let's be specific. He raises questions about inclusivity. There's no transparency, being left out of activities, and also the funding. Is this true from where you stand as a representative of a member party within that coalition party?
I don't think it is true, because First of all, you know, legally the elections have not started. The election campaigns have not started. The teams are just being set up. The coalition partners are just consulting to ensure that now once IEBC declared that the election timeline has now started, then we go all out. So he was in a hurry. And in any case, he talked about funding. I don't think there's anywhere the constitutional political parties were. There's no promise of funding in the agreement. He claims that he has never seen the agreement. But he quotes Article 22 of the coalition agreement that is about withdrawal clause, which he explicitly talked about. So I don't know which agreement he's talking about, while himself, Governor Mutua, is quoting an explicit clause that talks about withdrawal in the same deed of agreement. So, you know, the issue of funding is neither here nor there. Again, the issue of inclusivity. If there is an inclusive coalition political party today in Kenya, that coalition party is Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition. Because look at the number of people that are there. But the ones that are leaving are fighting for space. And I can tell you also, with the entrance of His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka into the team, and when Oka came on board, people like Governor Mutua got scared because they are fighting their own interests. And they know very well that such a team, when they enter into the Azimio, will be the same, because the focus is now going to be on the key leaders in Azimio that are going to bring the vote and marshal the people to vote for Raila Odinga and make him the president. Okay, all right, Fred, just stay on the line. We'll get back to you with one more question. But Senator Cherargei, so looks like it's a win for Kenya Kwanza, at least for Maendeleo Chap. But how then do you come together into a coalition agreement? Because the Registrar of Political Parties told us that there's a coalition agreement that was filed from Kenya Kwanza on the night of 8th, or rather on the 8th of May, that is the day before yesterday. But how do you co-opt a partner who already is tied within the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance, and there's a clause that says that no member can leave within 6 months to the election or 3 months after the election?
Thank you, Sam. I think Kenya Kwanza is a coalition of the willing. And therefore, I said in one of the, I think 2 months ago, that Governor Mutua was joining Kenya Kwanza. And on behalf of the fraternity and family of Kenya Kwanza, we want to welcome Governor Mutua, also welcome Governor Kingi of PA.
Has he finalized that matter? Really?
Yes, it has been done. I'm just informing you so that you are aware, because I'm part of Kenya Kwanza. So he has also, we are done, and there are many more on the way, by the way, as we go into a few months, few days remaining to the general election. There will be many more Kenyans and many more leaders who will join Kenya Kwanza and be part of it. And you know, Kenya Kwanza, we don't participate in political conmanship or deceit or deception. As you have heard Governor Mutua said, I think the law is, as the one we passed, Political Parties Amendment Act, is very clear. I've seen Governor Mutua and the agreement that he signed, but this has been complaints by members of Azimio. I think there are a number of 20-something of them. And most of them, I saw Governor Kivuta, also Kivuta Kibwana, complaining of the same, the issues of zoning, saying that that they had agreed with Raila Odinga that there should be no zoning. But there is a document, they are alleging that it was being sneaked into the Registrar of Political Parties. They were complaining at some point, and this has been in public domain, that when they wanted to see the agreement, they were being told to go to State House to see. So these are some of the issues that, and they have accused Azimio la Umoja Council
I think we can speak about that with Governor Mutua, but the question I'm asking you, because you come from Kenya Kwanza,
yes,
for a political party that has signed a deal, and it expressly says that you cannot leave the coalition political party called Azimio la Umoja One Kenya within 6 months to the general election, and you cannot leave 3 months after the election. So that puts them up to November 2022. How then do you go and sign agreements? Or are you saying that those agreements don't hold any water from whichever side?
Of course, the act that we passed provides for such arrangements. But as you are aware, Governor Mutua has already moved to court. And this is a matter that is before the court that he would want to withdraw. Because as the law says that they should give 90 days notice before exit. And of course, I don't know whether the drafters of coalition agreement of Azimio were trying to lock the partners by force, or it was just by design or default. But I agree with you, and that is why Governor Mutua has moved to court. You are aware there is a court matter. We don't know how it will be determined, and therefore, all these issues shall be dealt with by the court. But as the law says, and by the agreement that we have, you know, I can't say, you know, you are informing me unless you are part of Azimio, One Kenya Alliance, but it's good to have Aman Manyora here and Mbui, who have more, but you and me don't know the details of such an agreement.
I have read the coalition agreement of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance, so really... But
let me finalize, Sam. Of course, I was saying you and me don't know the details of Azimio One Kenya Alliance agreement, and good we have the privilege of two gentlemen. They will give us the final. But as the law says, that is why the Governor Mutua has moved to court to seek interpretation of that part. But what I want to say finally on that act, when we passed in Parliament, and I voted against in the Senate, we warned them that this law will work against most of the people that now it's hanging them, unfortunately. Because if you are, you know, coalitions and negotiations and dialogue, and my brothers know, should be about willing.
Who is it hanging?
Of course, several of the people that want to move to shift alliances from one coalition to another. There are people who would feel that they would want to be part of Azimio now, but they can't because of the law. There are people who are now moving to Kenya Kwanza, and they need to go to court to seek interpretation and exit the legal interpretation and launch cases in courts of law. So at the end of the day, it is hanging both of us.
I need to take your views, but I also need to take a short break. So please hold your thoughts that we can take this break and come back with that after the break. Stay tuned.